Nick Rutter for IDSCarCare.com. Today at the shop, I have Ole from Flitz.
Good to meet you.
Ole, you are like the authority for polishing metal. We've done several videos on that clearly, but now you want to showcase Flitz, which I always thought was just for metal, but apparently it's not. You can use it on a variety of different materials, from headlights to isinglass to copper and like everything in between. Is that right?
That's correct. That's one of the things, you know, something when a company like Flitz is 45 years old, and it started as a metal polishing company, once it's like actor or actresses, once you're in a niche, you're kind of stuck sometimes. Our biggest challenge now is to help educate how Flitz works on plastics, fiberglass, and even paint.
Yep.
So it's a restoring product. It's not something like a car wax or anything. It's made to bring something back to life. And what I brought in here today was what we've been working on is this semi-truck headlight from a Volvo. Now headlights in general are a problem no matter where you go in life. You can be here in Florida, you can be up in Maine, up in Canada. Now the sun works on here, of course, it fades them. It's basically sunburn, I call it. But up north, you don't have just a sun, you have stone chips and little pit marks that way. Now when you're trying to restore plastic, it could be a headlight. It could be a light bar, like here for fire trucks, or we sell for tow truck operators. We sell for boats, like all the windshields are plastic. If you ever had a rag and had salt water in it, you leave little scuff marks.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Or a convertible car window, like a Jeep window, kind of fading oxidation. So one of the things I want to show you today, this headlight is really bad, but you need to remove this, and the best way to remove it, first of all, you need to wet sand it. Now there are companies out there that have products that just say spray on, wipe off. If that was that easy, I'd be selling it.
Well, yeah, and I think the way those work too is that they wet the surface, and any kind of restoration is just temporary. It's like an oily film. And the reason that you want to restore this instead of replacing it is because headlights, especially on a modern car, you can be in thousands of dollars.
Correct.
Right? So for a couple bucks, you get a can of Flitz metal polish or a tube and one of your balls, and boom.
Right. And we actually have a headlight restoration kit here on which you can feature that way. It's on your website.
Oh, better yet.
But what happens is, and I don't want to knock anybody's product, but most headlight restoration systems you see come with sandpaper. Now we use Mirka. It's a company out of Finland. It's a feel that's like rubber.
Yeah, they're really high quality.
Very high quality. You can wash this and reuse it actually. This is a 2,000 grit. In some cases we start with 1,000 grit. Now in this case here, because it's bad but not super bad, we're going to take a little water and we're going to wet sand this.
And the higher the number of the grit, the finer it is.
That's 100% right. So we start with, normally, if it's really nasty, you can start with 400 or 500. But in this case, we're going to start with 2,000, and we're going to wet sand this headlight. So what I'm actually doing here, I'm scratching off the top layer of the plastic. It's the sunburn, basically. Once you've removed that, the biggest work comes in sanding. Normally, people they tape the front of the car so you don't hit the sandpaper with paint by accidentally.
Sure.
But once you do it like this with a Mirka pad, it's nice, it's very soft. You could do this with a sander, or you can do it by hand like I'm doing right now.
And if you have like a drill, you do it with the drill too,
right? Because these fit on Velcro. There's a
Yeah.
Velcro pads, and you just work much easier.
And the foam interface makes it easy to hold on to, because if you've used sandpaper in the past, as you're rubbing it bunches up.
Exactly.
It folds. This doesn't
This
do
you can
that.
see, it's real nice and flat yet like this. Now you can see it's getting white because we're picking up the plastic like this. Now once I've taken that off, I'll take a microfiber here. We'll dry this. By the way, I love your microfibers. They're really nice and thick. These are like 350 grams, 400 grams?
Those are 360, yeah.
Wow, big
on.
difference, folks. I tell you, I don't sell microfiber, but if you ever use microfiber, you can buy ones very inexpensive in mass merchandisers, but you can see through them.
Yeah,
This here is super fast and thick. So we're going to wipe it off here. Now you're going to see how dull this actually is so the camera can see this.
Yeah, so
See how it
that's
is like
dull,
that,
that's
Nick?
where you sanded, yeah.
Right, exactly. So now we're going to take the Flitz polish. And one of the biggest questions we always get, we said, how abrasive is Flitz? Well, I tell people that Flitz is a 4,000 grit. So I just used 2,000 grit sandpaper on this headlight. Now I'm going to take 4,000 grit and polish it out. Like you said, the higher the number, the softer it. You can hardly feel.
No, it's very
It's
fine.
just like hand cream that way.
Yeah.
So once you apply it, you don't need to apply very much, just enough to cover it gently. I'm going to take a buff ball. Now these buff balls have been used right here because of course we're doing a lot more filming at the show here today, but one of the things I want to show everyone, these buff balls have a hex-shaped shaft. They're hex-shaped for a reason. They don't spin loose.
Because most of them are cylindrical.
Correct. This is geared for 3,000 RPM. This drill here is only 2,200.
And that's high in the RPM level. That's
It
really
is
high.
for a drill, and that's why a good cordless, I even a lot of times recommend a corded drill if you can, just because you get more speed, or air tools. Then you pop this on, and by the way, I forgot to mention this, it comes with a Velcro cover here. That's to protect the drill shroud from scratching, but also when you put this in a wash machine, you pop right in the wash machine, the pin will never wreck the washer.
Wow, that's a big plus for the ladies, you know.
It sure
We're
is.
trying to justify throwing our tools in the washing machine, yeah.
Well, when it's this dirty, most people don't want it in a wash machine, so I tell people use a pail of water, use dishwashing soap, just soak it, then put it in the wash machine afterwards, no problem. I'm going to pop this on, and I'm going to use it in slow speed over here. I'm going to put this on so the camera here can catch it. Kind of smush it. Go slow with it first. And if you notice, I'm going to go very slow because this does not create heat like a normal buffer. These buffers bring in air like an air conditioner. So they're constantly cooling. So you're not burning through the plastic. So I put it on like this. And I work very slowly. And here you'll see how bright and see-through I made this piece. Isn't that something?
That's incredible.
Yeah. Now, to do this whole headlight, you're going to spend at least 45 minutes on a headlight.
And it's not really that hot. It's
No.
warm.
Right.
You know,
and you do
but it's
create
not
some
hot.
heat, but the whole key is you don't want to get it too hot. That's why people melt it.
You're right. And they can distort it too, making it less safe. So by restoring the headlight lenses, not only does it an aesthetic appearance, it upgrades the way the vehicle looks.
Safety.
But safety. You're right.
Major thing.
Inclement weather, the output from the light is going to actually pass
right through
through
there.
now.
And what happens, years ago I was doing with a flat buffer. I was doing my daughter's car, she had a Cougar, and it had a small rise in the lens.
I'm familiar with that car, yeah.
So Dad thinks he's going to do it and polish it for her. I put it on there with the Flitz, and I'm using this flat buffer versus using our buff ball.
Yep.
All of a sudden that flat buffer got so hot, and it melted that headlight on spot.
I believe it.
$400 later, Dad got a new headlight.
And you got off easy. If you have a BMW or Mercedes,
Oh.
I mean, you're looking at thousands plus the installation.
That's right. So when you do something like this, I'm not saying it's forever, Nick. This is good for basically 1 year. But the key to this, when you're all done, is putting a ceramic sealant over it.
Because, well, Flitz has some, by itself, it has an anti-corrosive agent, right? It gives
Correct.
some protection, but this
This
really
is-
protects it.
This is pure ceramic coating. This will never clean. This will not polish. This will only protect.
That's a finishing.
Correct. Well, this is, it says on here, paint restoration. This is a restore. This brings back something to life. Once it's brought back to life, you seal it with the coating. So simple with a ceramic piece, just simply spray it and wipe it off. In doing this on a headlight, you should probably do it every, I would say, 4 to 6 months, because the sun, the bugs, the car washes you go through are all going to work on this. But this way you can keep it always up. Not only safety-wise, for trucks, it's mandatory. There are government regulations. If these trucks come and these are faded, they get a major fine. It's actually, I believe it's 4 points out of 10 that they get. So for the commercial industry, they're very anal on this.
Oh,
but
yeah.
even as a consumer, we should be. And
Well,
it's,
safety, absolutely.
exactly. And it's not just a headlight. Like I say, anything plastic in a car. If you have any black, for instance, bug screen, or if you're a smoker, you have the screens on the side of the windows, you can take that and restore those with Flitz in seconds. And then use the ceramic to give it a finish. So it's a pretty simple deal. You have the Flitz polish, you have the buffer, and the ceramic sealant when you're finished.
Heck, I can go into business doing this on the weekends, going through the neighborhoods and restoring headlights. I mean, that's fast and easy.
You're
you
right.
know?
Actually, a lot of times you drive around town, you see signs, do headlights $50 a piece.
Yeah, within 5 minutes. I mean, that's $50 for 5 minutes. It was pretty good.
It does work very good. The sanding is the key, and that's why I always encourage people to get the Merca pads, which come part of the kit, so that you have some abrasive that way with it.
Cool. Well, anything else you want to show Ole? Or is
Well, I'm going to do one last thing for boaters here, if you can mind pulling this out.
Absolutely.
I brought a boat hatch along. If anybody here has ever owned a boat or stepped on a sailboat, as soon as you step on here with your shoes, you get them scratched up and things. And I've done half of it here. So the half it's bad and half it's good. So I just want to show you, I'm going to take the same sandpaper we did before, it's a 2000 grit, and I'm going to sand this. Now normally you wouldn't do this in a brand new piece or something that's good in shape, but you see how you're scuffing it. And I call this a scuff, not a scratch. Because when you have a scratch, you have something deep. If it's a real deep scratch, Flitz will not take it out.
Yeah, really nothing will at that point.
Well, when you have a deep scratch, you take wet sandpaper. You start with 400 grit
You're
or
really
500.
aggressive then.
Right, and then you go from 500 or 400 to 1,000, then to 2,000. Then after 2,000, you use a Flitz polish, because a Flitz polish is a 4,000.
Okay.
So you can actually take off scratches if you want, and we'll show that at a later show. But what I want to give you an example is when you're putting this product on, and I'm just going to do half of it here, so the camera can catch it as we're doing. This buff ball I'm using is a little dirty, but that's okay. But when they do get really filthy, I do recommend washing them first before you use paint and plastic.
Okay.
Because when you polish metal, you pick up oxide. And oxide becomes abrasive, and that abrasiveness helps scratch. So if you have a clean buffer, you're always better off. Now again, I'm going to go slow speed kind of first so it doesn't spit all over the showroom here.
Yeah.
Once you get that on, Bob won't be happy because it's all messed up here. And then take it again to slow speed. And you'll see how this comes right back to life. And there you are.
Saves you a lot of money because most people would just replace this.
Yeah.
They see it looks bad, they replace it, they spend a lot of money.
And you think headlights are expensive.
I bet, yeah.
This is super expensive.
Nothing is cheap on a boat.
No, nothing is cheap on a boat. So any plastics, and I have a center and console boat. On my window, I get little scuff marks. And I bring it back once a year or so. I take the polish and buff it right out. It does a phenomenal job.
Boom.
Same scenario when you're done. You take your sealant, you spray it on, and wipe it off. Now when you're doing sealant, when you do a ceramic sealant like our Flitz ceramic sealant, we recommend actually taking soap and water and washing the vehicle or the boat first.
Get it clean.
Yeah, especially like Dawn, because Dawn cuts grease, wax, everything very, very quickly. And that's why you're not supposed to use dishwashing soap when you wash your car. You want to buy car wash soap like you guys sell.
Yeah, yeah.
But if once you use something like Dawn, you clean it, the ceramic coating will stick so much more. But this 2 days from now, this will be super hard. You can feel how slick it is right now.
Yeah, it's glossy.
Right.
It looks good. It is really slick.
But when you put this on glass windshields, it's like you use Rain-X on steroids. It's
Water
unbelievable.
beads up.
Water beads right up. It's not a problem.
Snow and ice will come off a lot easier too.
So much easier. And ceramics itself are fantastic. Save you a lot of time.
Cool.
But so try to use this on your fiberglass, your plastics, your isinglass, which is a trade name for like your Jeep windows, any convertible car windows. It's like a plastic window. Same exact process. You wouldn't use sandpaper on a plastic window because they're soft.
Yeah.
But the buffer, which doesn't get hot, is the key. So
Yeah.
it helps do that on a plastic piece.
So if it's hard, you can sand it. But if it's soft and flexible,
then
you
you
don't
just
want to sand
then
it.
you don't sand it. Then just use the polish. And that's where we have a great customer service. People can call here. You can email us. You can do chats, whatever else. We definitely will answer questions.
We pick up the phone.
There you
That's
go.
what makes us stand out. And I know you guys do too. So many companies, they say, well, just send us an email and we'll get back to you in a month.
Yeah.
We provide support. So
Well, people are you're doing a job right now. You don't want to get it a month later. You need it right now.
need it right now. Well, Ole, it was a pleasure meeting you.
You too, Nick. Have a good week.
Thanks for stopping by. For more information on the Flitz product line and all of the accessories, visit idscarcare.com. I'm Nick Rudder. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up. Take care, and God bless.